He will make all things new. If not for you in this life, the promise of it for the Christian is in the next. It will be all right. The writer of Ecclesiastes reminds us that in Ecclesiastes 3:1, there is an appointed time for everything. Not most things, not convenient things, not happy things only, not positive things alone. There is an appointed time in God's timetable for everything. And brothers and sisters, listen. If you can learn to live in that truth, if you can learn to trust that those words are true, that idea becomes real in your mind, it'll make those unanswered prayers a lot easier to cope with. It'll make it a lot easier to understand why sometimes the best thing that God can do for you is not answer a prayer the way you want him to. Sometimes the most loving thing that God can do for you is make you wait on his timing rather than your own. We don't like to hear that sometimes because we are, in our human nature, selfish, impatient people. We want what we want when we want it. But if we will lean into the truth that God's timing is truly better than our own, it can make those dark times, those dark places that we do have to go to in this life, it can make them a little less dark. And we can know that Jesus is with us in the middle of that. He understands what you are going through. The writer of Hebrews talks about the kind of Savior we have. He's not just a Savior up on a throne, and he is that, but he's not just that. Apart from us, not able to identify or understand the things we're going through, not able to, this isn't who he is. The writer of Hebrews says in Hebrews 4:13, nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes to him whom we must give account. Skip down to verse 14 through 16. Therefore, since we have such a great high priest who has gone through the heavens, he's already accomplished everything that needed to be accomplished for you. Jesus, the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith we profess. Hold on. Hold on. Wait on the Lord. Why aren't things going the way I want them to go? Why don't I have an answer yet? Why am I waiting on God? Hold on. If you're not dead, God's not done. Verse 15, for we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet was without sin. Let us then approach the throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. Approach the throne of grace with confidence, knowing and relying on Jesus who has died for you, has given his life for you, and lives again for you because he loves you. And he will make all things new. He will keep his word. He will be faithful. Will you? You may be in a place right now in your life where you're wondering if God is ever going to show up. Is God ever going to answer this prayer? Is he ever going to do this thing I'm praying he'll do? I don't pretend to know all your stories, but I know some of them. Maybe your marriage is in jeopardy. Maybe you're on the brink of losing your job. Maybe you're really sick and you're fighting a life or death battle. Whatever your situation is, I can't promise you that God is going to answer your prayer the way that you want him to. But I can promise you that he's going to answer it. Don't let anybody ever say to you that, God always wants to heal in the here and now, because he doesn't always want to do that. And that's a hard thing for us to hear sometimes. But he may heal you in the here and now, and he may heal you in the next life. And we'll look at that as, when we lose somebody that we love, and when somebody's going through something really, really difficult, or again, when somebody passes away and we're like, God, why didn't you answer that prayer? Why didn't you save that person? I'm so sad about this. And that's natural. That's human nature. That's understandable. But the thing that we probably don't give much thought to is that we oftentimes only pay lip service to is that that's the person who's been made well. And that's really hard for us. It's really hard for me. I've lost people, my parents and others, that I love very much, that I miss very much, that I wished and prayed very much my prayer would be answered here. But it wasn't. It was answered in heaven. And that's not Christian cliche, that's just the truth. And so we have to get to a place where no matter what the circumstance is, Lord, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to wait on you. Whether it's this life or the next, I believe. And I'm not going to allow the frustrations of this life or the frustrations that other people bring at me or the frustrations that I lay on myself, I'm not going to let them derail me.